Welcome to the Landscape Photography Vlogcast, hosted by myself, Tom Peters, aka the Photo Ninja, all the way up north, Paul Thompson Photography, and Struth mate, it's Matt Bishop. We cover all things photography and chat to some of the best photography minds in the business. Put your feet up, the kettle on, and let's jump straight into this week's Vlogcast. Proudly sponsored by Kase Filters. Capture with confidence.
Well, good evening, guys. How are you doing?
Not too bad, mate. You? Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad at all. How are you doing, Matt?
Bit hectic, but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's good to be on here with you guys while it lasts.
Yeah, Matt's going to have to take off when he's
sorry.
home. He's on call. He's a nurse. He's on call. So if he gets a phone call, he's going to have to dash, I'm afraid. But we'll keep it going as long as we can get it going, basically, eh?
I'll try and talk as much as I can while we've got you on here, but I don't think I'm going to have a problem with that, am I?
No. Does that mean you're going to cram more in a shorter space of time?
Just don't speak too fast.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, this is the first time we've kind of been online since we got back from our photo trip in Italy, eh?
Yeah, it actually feels weird to be speaking to you guys because, we haven't done this since the trip, have we?
No, not at all. But it was really good fun, eh? It was really awesome trip. Awesome trip.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely opens your eyes, doesn't it, to what's out there?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
It isn't too far away, really.
Well, no, it was only a 2-hour flight. It was just all the palaver of getting all the gear over there. That was my biggest concern. I was stressed out for 2 weeks before it, trying to get my bag down to size to get on.
Yeah, it's not easy flying with Ryanair, is it? That's for sure, when you're a photographer.
Absolutely awful.
Yeah, not unless you want to spend a fortune.
Yeah, well, it's not too bad, but then you get on and nobody even bothers to check. So all that stress beforehand, it's like, well, that was a bit pointless, eh?
Yeah, that's exactly how I found it, if I'm honest. The security and all the bag check through was just was easy, really.
Well, yeah, and then you have all that palaver of filling those forms in for Italy, and we get to Italy and nobody even looked at them.
Right. Exactly.
It was lunchtime. They're all eating fettuccine and drinking wine, mate. No,
yeah, pretty much. There was only one security guy, I would have thought so, yeah.
I'll leave you the next time.
It's just been that was great. It's been just a really, really hard few years for everybody, hasn't it? With photography and to have you to organise and have you guys to come over after such a difficult period that we've been through was just it was great to not for travel for me because it wasn't travelling, but to have you guys come over and just see my backyard. It was brilliant. Yeah. Sorry if you see my head go like that, it's because I'm looking at my phone every 20 seconds. So I do apologise.
Yeah, but what a trip! What a trip! And you say it was your backyard. What a backyard, man!
Yeah, well, when I say backyard, it's not actually my backyard. Yeah, it's a 2-hour drive. So we're talking about this place that is about it's a 2-hour drive from Rome, and it's quite high up. I think we were pretty much over 1,600 meters above sea level for the majority of the time. So,
yeah, pretty much.
They're big mountains, but you don't realise because you just leave Rome and it just gradually goes up and up and up and then bang, you're there. And it's to get in a car and travel for 2 hours and hit a destination like that after, being in Rome's so chaotic, and then to get out into that wilderness where there's just nothing but nature. It's an insane place, such a beautiful place, and it's a privilege to live so close to it. I think not many people, pretty much internationally, photographers really don't know this area. I think it's just because it is that little bit harder to access, isn't it?
It is. And you have to kind of know, you have to be able to speak the language. That helps as well, especially in the area that we went to.
Definitely, it's essential. To go around in these areas here. They're not touristic destinations, so it's hard for you to communicate with the people that live in these areas. To book the hotels and even know where you have to go, the destinations. You need to be able to know where you go. Luckily, I've been to these places quite a few times, but anyone who's seen our videos that we've put up onto YouTube and all that, you've probably noticed that we're with Luigi Nespec. Okay, I'm going to say his name perfectly because he's going to be online tonight. It's Luigi Nespecca. And Luigi basically travels up to that area once per week. Every single week he lives close by, and every single week he's up there, and that is literally his backyard. He knows every nook and cranny of that area, and to have a friend like that photographer to especially be out with us to be able to look at the weather conditions and say, hey, no, let's not go there, let's go somewhere else, and it's essential, isn't it?
Well, it is, and it happened the 2 nights that we were at up near the castle, didn't it? On the evenings, Luigi was straight in touch saying, don't go here, go there instead. And, it makes all the difference.
And we had Ed with us too, Ed Rhodes. He's quite good up there too, isn't he? He was like, no, let's go that side. The weather's going to be good on that side. That's what landscape photography has been able to predict the weather conditions a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, and cutting your losses, knowing when to cut your losses and just call it quits and go and try something else.
Yeah,
should we bring up a photo for people who don't know what we're talking about, Paul?
I just want to quickly say good evening to Flora, because she's just saying happy to see you guys, and also Phil Payne's just joined as well and said good to see and hear you again, guys.
Oh, Phil's on that bit of behave myself tonight then. He just listened to our last podcast and he found it quite funny.
Right, so I'm going to screen share. And hopefully I can make this work. And I'll bring up this one, eh? And that's where we're basically staying. Right where you want to tell us a little bit about it, Matt?
Okay, so this place is as I said before, it's in Abruzzo, and it's an abandoned fortress which is in very good condition. This fortress was basically built in an area, I couldn't tell you the exact date, maybe like 14th, 15th century. And underneath that area was a little tiny medieval town. Now, I think it was post-Second World War, they had a huge earthquake through the whole entire area, and the people that lived in that little town were forced to evacuate. So the village, which is just down the foothill there, it's only like a 10-minute walk, guys, 10-minute hike from there, was basically abandoned up until the mid-80s when a Roman family decided to get this area, and they basically started doing up some of the old apartments, and it's like a bed and breakfast type of place. It's beautiful, and that's where we stayed, so it was lovely. Yeah, it's good just to be able to sit by the fireplace and have pasta for dinner and then just walk up the hill and have that right in front of you.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a very, very tricky landscape. As beautiful it is, it's very, very hard to find a good composition. It's not easy. If you want to get an interesting, creative composition, it's quite a complex area to be in. So it's important, going there many, many times makes it a lot easier. I was lucky on this occasion because this is probably about my third visit. I think this was about 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah. And you guys saw more there. You saw those cloud inversions.
Oh, yeah.
This was a cloud inversion in the morning, and about, I think it was in September. And funnily enough, this is the first time I ever used the Kase CPL filter. Very first CPL filter from Kase that I bought.
Right.
And it was the first time I tested it out, which probably helped with a bit of that, that roaring, intense light coming through the back of the castle there. So I was lucky to have that cloud inversion that morning just come right up really, really high and just add a bit of drama into the shot and sort of help bleed those rays of light into that cloud. So for me, I've been there that many times. I have never seen that again, and I hope I will see a condition like that again. But that was one of those instances where it was just an incredible memory. Never ever forget it. For sure.
No. Well, it's the same.
It's one of them places, isn't it?
It is. Well, same for us, really, because after being there, I'll just pop up one of the images I took while I was there. You'll get the idea of the cloud inversion we got when we were there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And that's the cloud inversion we got on the morning that we were there. It wasn't quite as high, but it felt I titled this "Castles in the Sky" because it felt as though it was floating above the clouds. It was just an awesome place.
Well, having a castle like that medieval feel about it, you almost feel like you're in heaven, don't you?
Yeah, you do. It's just
it gives you that idea. You're in heaven. Yeah.
That's why I said to you. I said to you at the time, it's a place that I could probably spend days at, just at that one location.
Yeah.
So much going on.
Sorry, guys. I've got to answer this. I'll be back in 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Yeah, so this is the location we visited, and it was absolutely stunning, wasn't it, Tom?
Yeah, I might have said it's quite hard to make a good composition there. It is, but a lot of it is the terrain, isn't it? Like the slope down to the right. It's almost, some of it was almost overhanging and sheer. So
yeah,
some of it's not really accessible. Certainly not when you're walking up in the dark.
Yeah, certainly not when you're walking up in the dark, having consumed three bottles of red wine and getting up 2 hours later. I think it's pretty obvious, mate, if anybody saw your video.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm so sorry, guys.
That's all right, buddy.
I've got good news, though.
Oh, what's that?
I don't have to go to work.
Awesome.
Yay.
Yes.
Yay.
I'm sorry. It doesn't look professional for me to do this, but unfortunately, I have a full-time job, and it's a very intense. It's an important job, and this is part of my life. You know, photography is my escape, and unfortunately, it does happen. No, they just called me now to tell me I don't have to go in. They're not going to do the emergency case now. So
awesome. Good news, mate.
Yes. So we can get back to the live event. Sorry, everybody out there. I do apologise. Sorry.
So yeah,
we forgive you, mate.
We were just kind of saying that it's just such a spectacular location, and you get conditions like this, and you can almost not guarantee those conditions, but you could almost tell that it's the kind of place that gets cloud inversions quite a lot because of the height of the place.
It's not just the height, okay. In an area like this, and I know it's very, very similar to a location that Ed Rhodes goes to quite a lot, which is in the Peak District. You've basically, what you've got is you do have this higher area here where this castle is, but it's actually the valley below. I mean, you're talking that castle's at 1,600 metres above sea level, and at about 1,000 metres above sea level, you've got a huge, huge, extensive valley with weather patterns coming from another valley on another side that rush over. Now, what happens is in the evening, those clouds rush over, they get trapped in that valley. With the change in temperature and the change in humidity, they get trapped in there at night time. As that sun comes up in the morning, those clouds rise. Yeah. So it's quite a common thing to see in this area specifically. It's not the first time I've seen it. We were lucky. 2 days we were there, we got cloud inversions. And we actually got them on an evening too, which was really interesting. Remember that?
Well, the thing is, because of that valley, I'll just bring up this other image here. Because of that, that's sort of the area around it. So you've got the church below the castle.
Yes.
And as you can see all the mountainous areas around it. And then you've got another valley down here. And then another valley to the other side over here. So
so where you can see that mountain right at the back there, which is called Gran Sasso.
Back up here.
So where that mountain is there, you'll actually see there's peaks in front of it. So over the other side of that peak, that's where you have Emperor's Field.
Yeah.
And that's where you get a lot of those that temporal environment, you know, those rushing clouds that we saw coming over the time.
Yeah.
It was
you can see the clouds over there, can't you?
Yeah. It just shows you that landscapes can be so beautiful, but at the same time the weather patterns just make it so special, don't they?
Yeah. Well, that's where the local knowledge comes in as well, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Certainly does.
You could go there not knowing anything and bumble around the whole area and just chase it, couldn't you? Or if you having that local knowledge, you know, you cut all that sort of messing around out. I know you still got to get lucky, but
we did chase it.
But you give yourself a fighting chance, don't you?
You do. I
mean, the first night we were there was the first day we were there was just a whirlwind, wasn't it? Really,
it was a whirlwind. Yeah, the Emperor's Field was set the precedent for the trip, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean that was awesome. The first, within being in the area for the first hour. It was like, what is happening?
Have you got one of them shots, Paul? You can stick up from the Emperor's Field.
I don't think I've got one of. Oh yes, I have. There we go.
Yeah.
So where in the valley there, the cloud that was just moving through the whole plain, the whole Emperor's Field plain, it was just so magical, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
So that was the first image from that, and then just as we were about to leave, we got more of this, which was kind of like Dragon's Breath, wasn't it? Just kind of came out of nowhere, and you got those weird winds that just appeared.
The sound of that wind.
Yeah,
it's for me. It's like because when I'm in that area, I've got this picture in my head of like a wolf.
Yeah,
and to hear that sound, it's just like the howling of a wolf, but it's so spooky.
Yeah, it is. Really odd.
Incredible.
Really odd.
Yeah, but seeing these conditions, and like I said, I've been up to these places. I mean, I've been in Emperor's Field where Luigi and I got stuck in a blizzard. We actually got stuck in it, and my hands, they weren't freezing, they went blue. Like, to think I took my dog up with me and he didn't even want to get out of the car. It was that cold.
The dog had sense.
Yeah, he did. Even if you give me a camera, I'm not getting out of the car anyway. Yeah. But the most satisfying thing of being up there, for me, I mean, you guys saw me and I was up there. I was excited, but I wasn't excited so much to capture these images because I've seen them that many times, but it was to actually see how happy you guys were, it's huge satisfaction just to see, you guys are my mates, and to actually have you up there and just seeing those places for the first time, being blown away. It's just such a rewarding thing to have. I mean, that's why a lot of people like me do workshops, because there's the satisfaction you get from people when you take someone somewhere which you consider yours, and you hand it over to someone else. And there's nothing worse than someone going up and going, it's all right. I'll take a photo anyway.
Yeah, it's not bad.
To actually have people excited like little kids, when you give a little kid their birthday present, they're like, oh.
Yeah.
That's what we're like with photography, aren't we? Especially when you see something for the first time. So to have you guys in this area, in these conditions, was so rewarding. Really, really was.
Especially for me, like, I know Paul's got mountains near him, but like for me, I'm always in the woods. It's very slow paced. It's very like calm and calculated. In terms, what I mean? Like I see an image, I think, right, I'll wait here for an hour, see if the light comes. Whereas this was crash bang wallop, and you thought, I missed that shot, but I'll get it in 5 minutes when it comes in again.
Yeah.
So it was like always changing. It was always exciting. It wasn't just seeing something different, it was just being in that, like you said, and then weather patterns, and obviously with you boys as well. It's nice to share experiences together in groups.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the things we're saying. It doesn't always, landscape photography is often taken for being like a solo thing.
Yeah,
and it is for all of us because it's all of our escape. But at the same time, to get together in a group of you who all love the same thing and experience something like that together, it's just amazing, just awesome.
You just think, how many times did we hug each other when we're away?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That just shows you when you're out on field, the emotion you get when you share it with somebody is just like you guys know. With Ed and I mean, Ed came to my workshop in Patagonia, and I took that guy up to see a scene and in a condition that you're only going to ever see once in your lifetime, and that brought tears to Ed's eyes. He was crying of joy and happiness to actually experience something like that, and to share that together with someone. Normally, you don't get to do that on an average basis. I mean, Tom and I get in the pub and have a beer. And, and when you're half drunk, you go, I love you, buddy. But the next morning, you were so drunk, you didn't even remember it.
Yeah.
But to have these emotions, to actually share them together like that and capture it as well.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't beat that. Anyone who doesn't do landscape photography doesn't know these sensations that we experience. So to do it here together with you guys was just incredible. Really, really was.
Yeah, definitely.
And most people don't see him, do they? That's what I like about it. Most people are never going to see that ever in their lifetime.
No, they're not.
I think it's so sad. Like if you're an Italian and you live in Rome and you've never seen that, which is 2 hours away, I find it's mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's the same thing when I go to the woods, which is like 10 minutes from my house. Got quite a famous big ancient oak woodland, and no one's probably been in there as many times as I have or witnessed the fog. I just think that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that same day, so the same day as after we've been to Emperor's Field, we went up to, is it Monte Balsa?
Yeah.
Monte Balsa?
Yeah, Monte Balsa. Yeah, Balsa Mountain.
And it wasn't happening, was it, at all? It was socked in. We were thinking it's going to clear, and it was the same sort of cloud conditions that we'd just come from, but there was no sort of light clearing through. It was getting thicker and thicker and thicker. So that it's at that point where kind of Ed sort of said, look, let's just call it quits and go and see if we can get something back up near the castle.
Yeah, so that showed you, Ed was there with us, and he's been to the area before, but, experienced photographer. He's been doing it for over 20 years now on a professional level, and, guys like that, when they're out there, they can predict weather patterns, and he knew it just wasn't going to happen. And
I'll just pop a couple of Luigi's comments up because he's joined us now.
Hey, Luigi. We're sorry, Luigi was supposed to join us tonight, but unfortunately he's had to. So as I was saying, Luigi lives in the mountains, well, in an area close to these mountains, and he's had to come to Rome for personal reasons. And being in Rome, he's left pretty much all his gear at his house. So unfortunately, he cannot connect online with us tonight. It would be great to have Luigi on with us.
Yeah, we'll have to do another one get him on sometime.
Luigi's probably the newest member to the Kase Global family, isn't he, Paul?
Yeah, I would say so. And he's just saying, hey guys, you got such beautiful conditions and shot more beautiful picture of the area that I've seen. So yeah, that's fantastic. Cheers for that, Luigi. And he says, I can remember that freezing day that you were talking about. Getting snowed in.
Yeah. It certainly was freezing.
Nick's on as well.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So it's gonna be good to get Luigi on another one at some point. Be really good.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, we kind of made the decision there and then, didn't we? After that evening, to move on.
Yeah, 3 of us were thinking about wine, and Ed was thinking about going somewhere else for images.
We were thinking about food and wine, yeah.
Food, cheese and wine, bread.
Hey, guys, just think how lucky you were that you're actually with me on that day. Otherwise, you would never have had dinner. Because when we were there, everybody, we're talking about very, very... I don't want to keep using the word wild. It's just always in my head, this wild thing.
Wild Italy.
It's very... They're very isolated locations, and if you haven't pre-organised, you don't know where to go, what to do, you're not going to be able to access the touristic lifestyle. So we were lucky enough that we found a place that actually had a little bit of pasta and a bit of cheese, and I was managed to put together a meal, and thankfully we found some bottles of wine, which were really, really helpful, weren't they?
Yeah, they were helpful for us, not so helpful for you, though.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we'll bring it up in a minute.
Yeah. What was the highlight of your trip, and what was the most disappointing part about the trip? Yeah.
The highlight was watching you puke at the top of the mountain. It was absolutely awesome. And as I say, that evening we went back towards the castle to where we were staying. And we ran up the hill, didn't we, up to where the castle was, which was about 10 minutes away from the house where we were staying in. And literally, I'll share my screen now. We were greeted with this sunset, which was just out
of this world, wasn't it?
Oh, it was just beautiful. Yeah, it was just beautiful. And we were getting a bit of those cloud inversions coming down from that that valley in the left there, it was just absolutely stunning. That kind of made my first day. That really did. And then it just kept giving. It just kept giving.
It did, didn't it?
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah, it kept getting higher and closer towards the sun, and the blue hour setting, and it was just even better, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And we were getting blue hour shots of the church, and the cloud inversion actually started swirling round the church. So it was nighttime and all the lights. I know you're not a fan of fake lights, Matt, but
fake lights,
artificial lights. That's what I was looking for. Fake. Yeah. But yeah, the clouds just swirling around that church just looked absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this image so much so I've just ordered a print of this today.
Yeah, see, I'm looking at this image now, and I've seen it before, and now that I've actually had the chance to look over the images that I took on the trip, I look at it and I go, damn, that's a good shot. And do you know, on that day, I didn't manage to capture that. Yeah. Number one, because we ran up at the last second.
Yeah.
And we only had a few minutes to capture.
Yeah.
Number two, I was so focused on having my tally out. I had my 70 to 210 out. I mean, I do have two camera bodies with my lenses mounted. So I got a wide angle mounted on one. I got a 15 to 30 mounted on one camera and the 70 to 210 mounted on the other. I was so focused in that moment of adrenaline. I was puffed and everything. I pulled my tally out and I was trying to focus in on these actual clouds here, because if you see this cloud inversion here, it was forming. It looked like a wave. I don't know if you remember that, Tom. You were there with me when that was happening.
I did get a shot of that. Yeah, it's the first time.
So I was focused. I had to capture this wave. It actually had the perfect shape of a wave.
Yeah,
and I had to capture it. So I got my tally out and bang, 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 bang. I took that many shots of it. I was so concentrated to get just like this shimmer of orange light on the top of it, and just to make this really, really interesting intimate shot that was mine. And they actually turned out quite well. I don't know what they're going to be like once I put them into post, and maybe play with them a little bit and try and I don't know, bring up the highlights or something. And so I didn't get this shot.
Yeah,
I didn't get this shot, and I'm damn angry with myself that I didn't, because it's got perfect. But look at that beautiful diagonal balance to it with look at the sun's positions. Look at those cloud inversions coming up. It's just a nice clean shot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really, really nice.
Was that one shot, Paul? One frame?
Yeah, this was one shot.
Yeah.
One shot, and funnily enough, Sal Digital approached me the other week there and gave me £300 credit, so I've just ordered a big metal print.
Nice.
So I was interested to see what it's like. So I've just
definitely
a big metal print, and I'm looking forward to getting that.
Yeah, big metal print. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, it was a special moment, wasn't it?
It was.
Definitely. I really liked the scene. This is obviously a good representation of the conditions. But when the sun went down and it went into blue hour,
yeah,
obviously the scene went even a bit flatter, but it was almost like a bit more otherworldly, wouldn't it? Because
it was, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's the good thing about this sort of thing. Now I've got so many images from even just this moment that I could probably go through and get different sort of versions of it. But when you come back, you want to at least try and get a few of them together to show.
Oh,
so, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful shot.
Yeah.
Alias Jim Worth is saying hello from California, USA. Hi, Jim. Hey, Alias. How are you doing?
Alias, how are you, buddy?
Yeah.
We got Nick Light. I can't say his last name. Can you say Livesey?
Yeah, Livesey. Yeah, so I said earlier, Nick's on. Yeah.
We've got to get it. Well, he's supposed to come on our podcast too, isn't he?
We need to get him on.
I like him. He likes Black Sabbath too, so we're gonna have to chat about that. He's a rocker.
Yeah.
Seems like a great bloke. So it'd be good to get him on the podcast at some stage,
definitely.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I'll come off this now.
So after that was the first 24 hours of being away, wasn't it?
Literally the first.
So we still had another 3 days ahead of us. You guys thought, okay, that's it. It's the end of the trip, and I'm no, it's just about to start.
I must admit, I was a bit worried that we might have peaked too early in terms of conditions. I was thinking, surely it can't be like this the whole time, because how many times, you know what I mean? But it was pleasantly surprised.
Look, in my personal opinion, you guys haven't seen the best part of that area yet.
Yeah.
Obviously, Rocca Kalasha is very epic. That castle in front of you can't beat that, obviously. But when we're talking about just pure landscape, there is other landscapes that are in that area that we couldn't access because it was just the end of snow season. So a lot of these roads were actually closed off. These are spots I've been to before where you can access areas where you've got lakes right in front of Gran Sasso Mountain, right in front of you with wildflowers, and you can actually, there's walking tracks that go right up in front of the peak, right in front of your face, with beautiful mountain crests as a foreground interest. There's so much to be discovered in this area, and I'm looking forward to go back. Definitely.
Yeah, me too. It's the first thing I said when I came back. Actually, when am I going back?
Yeah, Paul, you're actually looking at house prices there, mate.
Yeah, I'm still looking. Honestly, honestly, I would buy, if I could afford to. I would buy one of those abandoned properties in that village tomorrow. I really would.
Definitely. It's a beautiful part of the world.
I mean, it's just a stunning place. I can't think of anything better than just rolling out of bed and thinking, I'm just going to go and shoot up there.
Yep.
It's literally
right, wasn't it?
It's just, gorgeous.
Living the life of a Luigi Nespica, huh?
That would do me.
Yeah, that's why he does it. You know.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all. I don't blame him.
Very, very, very smart man. That's for sure.
Yeah. So on from that, then next day, where did we go to the next day? We went back up to the castle to shoot the morning sunrise. And did we get an inversion that morning as well? We did.
Yeah, we did.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, you wouldn't.
That was the morning. That was the infamous morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the morning. We did get a.
That was the one we got that real surreal sort of moon landing.
Yeah,
I think we need to tell people what happened, don't we?
Yeah, go ahead, Matt. You tell them.
Should I tell them my version, and then you guys can tell your version?
Yeah. Go on then.
Okay. Yeah. Number one, before this trip, after being on a podcast with you guys and collaborating with you guys and many photography adventures on the internet over the last, during this COVID period, I was actually just that excited to see you guys, to see Ed. I hadn't seen Ed in over 2 years either, and Ed's a very close friend of mine. And just to have all four of us in a beautiful room with good food and good wine, I was just taken by the moment and so excited by the moment. And we started getting stuck onto the red, didn't we? When you get excited, when you're mates, when you're together, you start, having a drink. And unfortunately that night, I don't think it wasn't just the red wine, Tom. I'm going to blame part of that on you, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for that.
Yeah, because Tom bought a bottle of Obam whiskey.
Obam 14, yeah.
That sort of put the icing on the cake. Yeah, so I think we ended up finishing the night off at about 2 a.m. So first night, everyone's sleep deprived, dehydrated because of the weather conditions, probably weren't drinking enough water, and had a great night. 2 a.m, went to bed. So, last shot of Obam was at, 1:57 in the morning. And then Ed wakes us up, the only one who hadn't drank, wakes us up at 5 a.m. Get up, guys, get up. I actually fell asleep on the couch and crawled out of bed and my intestine just got the bit of my stomach, actually. I hadn't digested anything. So, that's long. To cut a long story short,
he was very ill.
I was very ill.
I'm just glad.
Ill and very embarrassed, because that's something I haven't done since I was a kid. But I was just taken by just like I said, it's so taken over by the moment of being up there with you guys, and it was something I'd been looking forward to and was so happy to get it done. Malt whiskey and red wine, been there, says Phil. Yeah, I think we've all been there a couple of times in our life, haven't we? But I missed the morning. But I wasn't disappointed because okay, he humiliated myself, which is one which I don't like to do.
I've seen worse, mate. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You could have been worse. You could have been seen somebody standing at the front door waiting for the three of us to stagger out of it in the morning. That was probably the funniest thing ever. I just about lost all footing and went straight out the door.
Yeah, I was about to say, it was a good job you was in front of me because you held me up a little bit when I come out.
Wasn't good. Then we're trying to get video cameras out and everything and film it at the same time. And if anybody wants a real good laugh, go and watch Tom's video because you can tell he's absolutely hammered.
Yeah.
I know. It's the first time I think I've used that tripod to hold up something other than my camera.
We've got Philly and Paul Benito, Brooke, wine and grappa, even worse. Yeah. Well, we actually... it got worse than the grappa. We actually had Gensiana, which is a local liquor made in Abruzzo, which is made from a root they find underground.
Awful.
And we drank that after the whiskey, and maybe that was the icing on the cake. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to photography. So I missed that morning. Paul. I did lift my head up every now and then, and just to make sure you guys were okay, obviously, because my priority number one is that you guys were satisfied. You were. And conditions would definitely were in your favour, weren't they?
Wait till you see this.
Yeah, bring it up, Paul.
I'll bring you up mine, and I'll bring you up Tom's.
Today's episode of the Landscape Photography Vlogcast is proudly sponsored by Kase Global, bringing a high-quality filter shooting experience to many global landscape photographers and enthusiasts. Paul, Tom and Matt all use these filters on field and highly endorse the product. So if you're looking for a filter system to add to your camera bag that is durable, easy to use and highly functional and most importantly optically neutral, then look no further than Kase Filters. Kase, capture with confidence.
So this happened.
Yeah.
So we were shooting this below us and it was just it was absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I just put the long lens on and I thought I'm just going to shoot some of this because I could just see the light just hitting the top of this hill up here.
Yeah.
And then it just slowly got better and better and better. And then Tom and Ed came and stole my shot.
You're a good friend, mate. You're a good friend.
Yeah, good friend.
Yeah.
I can't emphasize enough that there's no post-production in that image. That is exactly how it was.
Yeah.
No post-production there, guys. That's straight out of the camera. That is exactly how it was.
Yeah.
When I opened my RAW files, because I was slightly tighter than this, but I opened them up and I was like, not really sure what I want to do to that. Really.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I pretty much stuck my logo on the bottom of it and posted it.
I know sometimes it's disappointing, isn't it? Because you've maybe got the evening off, your kids are in bed, and you think, I've got 2 hours now. You open up Photoshop, you put your headphones on. Nick, you get a bit of Black Sabbath going, mate.
Yeah, defo.
And you pull out an image and you think, I'm going to spend a couple of hours and get stuck right into this raw image and extract all that data and bring it to life and, make it, try and bring all the dimension back into it and open up my shadows a little bit, reduce or increase the highlights. And then you get this perfect image and you say, it's disappointing.
Yeah. I kind of wish I went a little bit wider actually, because you've captured obviously a wider scene, but you can see the light and it gives you a bit more scale, I think, maybe. Whereas my image is a bit more abstract. Yeah.
I took a few. That I've got probably about 12 of these different ones, different versions of it. But so I did this one, and then I'll bring yours up.
Such a good. It was another highlight. It's another sort of unbelievable sort of scene.
That was your version of it. So you went tighter.
Yeah, I went tight.
Yeah.
But again, very little post production. Again,
I barely touched it. If I'm honest, barely touched it. I think I might have warmed it up slightly on the top and bottom, but other than that, I haven't really touched it. No, I like the way that it made you. It's sort of you look at it makes you look at it twice. Think, what is that? Where is that?
Yeah.
I'm guilty of maybe not stepping back sometimes, like you did, Paul, and grabbing because I haven't got anything wider than that, and I kick myself a little bit if I'm honest.
Sometimes you just don't. That's the thing when you're out on field. You're so taken by the emotions that it's hard to know what you're doing in that time. That reflex in that time, that's what your eye sees, that's what you capture. And sometimes you get home and you say, why didn't I just do this? That's also what's great about going back to a location again and again, isn't it? I mean, obviously a condition like that you may not see again. Who knows?
I know.
But, we can't do everything when we're on film because we're not technicians. A lot of people think, photographers where it's all about getting everything in the camera perfect and, studying and all that sort of stuff. But sometimes when conditions are that good, your emotions take over 95% of your senses. And then you got 5%, which is left over, which is your common sense. And
it wasn't a lot of that morning, I'll tell you that.
But honestly, when we captured these images, I thought the day before had been good, and then I captured these images and I thought, oh man, that's the shot of the trip for me so far.
Yeah, that is my favourite shot. Yeah, for me.
And
one of them.
As far as filters go, if I think about filters, for example, all it was a CPL. All it was a CPL, and it was just literally. I used the CPL to emphasize the rays that were coming through the sky.
That's what extremely. Look, I sort of backed off on CPL use over the last couple of years, unless I was shooting, something with water in it to cut through reflections or. But I kind of like this sort of softer approach about the natural haze in an image, and sometimes I thought that the CPL sort of does take it away. In these conditions, though, I was finding that where we were, there's so much dynamics in light and depth and haze in depth because, the further you away after something, you get that natural haze, don't you? But sometimes that haze was so intense. We're going to see some images later on that we took of the trip at another location, and you'll see exactly why. But this is a good example of, how a CPL really helps there. I mean, someone might not use a CPL, might not be able to get those details out, or use, I don't know, something like increase their blacks or something in the image. But we all know that at the end of the day, people think, but I could do it in post. Remember that, okay, it's not always the case, but a lot of the times when you're using filters, if you're using them correctly, you're much better off using filters because you're modifying the image optically. You're not modifying it in post-production, and optically doing it, you're going to get a far much richer and better result in the end.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, CPL for me, CPL's my most used filter by far.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for me.
I mean, it's not a case of whacking it on and turning it up to full. I mean, you barely have to. Sometimes you barely have to turn it. But it's just sometimes just enough just to emphasize. And a little trick I used exactly the same when I was shooting in Scotland in Harris is people would say, how the heck did you get the rainbow so bright? Well, put a CPL, because you can use a CPL on it and it really emphasizes the colors in a rainbow. But what you have to realize, it can also make it disappear.
Yeah.
So
It depends on your actual angle. So where you got the light rays, your UV light rays is being absorbed through the CPL. So as you're turning it, it's coming in from a certain direction.
Yeah.
The CPL then absorbs it, and that's your result. So depending on where the actual light is at that stage to where you're actually standing, you can actually absorb something too much, in that case, a rainbow, or maybe just changing direction slightly where the rainbow might be facing that way, turning your CPL, and because it hasn't absorbed it 100%, it's just giving it that nice soft effect, which is important to know that when you're using a CPL, we're turning them also for a reason, because you don't always have to crank them 100%.
Yeah. You can back it off. You can just
definitely
give it just that little bit, and it just all helps.
Definitely.
The thing is, like when I was using it here in this shot, like the CPL I was mainly wanting to concentrate on making these bottom clouds, this bottom sort of
down here,
but it was affecting the darker areas as well, making it too dark. So like you have to sort of find a happy medium of where it affects things in a balanced way, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. not easy to do that whilst not missing the light and not missing the shapes. I was trying to capture the textures of these clouds as they rolled in. I wanted them in a certain way. So it was, again, like was talking about earlier about when we went to Empress Field, it's a completely immersive experience. It's not a case of rocking up and thinking, I got that, I'll move on now. It's it's better now. Oh, it's worse now. Oh, no, it's better now. And you're constantly like sort of being thrown around. But yeah, it was a good morning. Good morning.
So we've talked for 45 minutes about pretty much the last 24 hours of the first day of the trip. We have 3 more days.
That's it. This is it.
We'll probably move on a little bit and show people some other images of other spots.
So do you want to go to Monte Balsa?
Yeah, we can show them. Probably wasn't the best time of year to go there. It was great to show you guys it. Yeah, we could bring up an image, yeah.
I'll bring up yours. And then there you go.
Yeah, okay. So, look, for this image for me was just probably more of an experiment than anything else. Obviously, there's not much. I love my clouds, and that particular moment, there wasn't too many clouds. There's a bit sweeping over the top of the mountain there, as you can see. But I just wanted to experiment on something in this location. I've captured it in other conditions before, so it was nice just to get that. I actually don't know this direct term. Is it sunburst, sun star?
Sunburst, sun star. It's
it's something I really have never done before. But that day that we're looking straight into the sun, and so I thought, look, I'm just going to give it a go. And I just like the way that the sun was actually highlighting all that foreground there, and I just thought it was interesting. It would have been nice to maybe move in a bit closer and get the mountain a bit more prominent. I was shooting at about 20 mil, I think, here. So as you can see, the mountain sort of flattened out a little bit. Maybe do a focal blend. Might have been nicer. There's just too much empty space up in that cloud up there, but it was good to try. It was a double exposure, by the way. This is double exposure, obviously, because, when you're shooting straight into the light, you have to into the sun. Sorry, double exposure is pretty important. But it gives you an idea, another location in this area. That mountain, you can't really appreciate it in this image. It's normally far more prominent. Luigi said, "Is that a volcano in Iceland or what?" Yeah, it is hard to tell in this image. It is a beautiful, beautiful mountain. You guys have been there. A few local Italian photographers who go up there that refer to it as Kirkefell in Iceland without the waterfall. But it's one of those places where you need to go back and back and back again to get it right. So hopefully next time, guys, we go back, we can capture it with some maybe foreground wildflowers and a few more clouds. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was nice to show you anyway, but it was more about the experience than actually taking something away on that occasion for me.
And then we went over. This was from the Emperor's Field, wasn't it, Tom?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was when it was when we did that long walk.
So that's the mountain crest we were talking about, which actually separates the two valleys. So from the other side of that, if you were to keep going straight, you would end up hitting where we were on the first day. So we're on the other side of the valley now. And this is a typical intimate scene of part of this mountain crest, which still had snow on it that time of year, just to show you that we were up high and we were at the very end of ski season, basically. Yeah.
It was a big blue sky day, wasn't it?
It was. It was very
windy. It was very, very windy that day too. Yeah. Didn't have good conditions. It was daytime. That was a scout for us. Remember, guys, we weren't out there to really capture anything. It was a daytime. I wanted to take you and show you guys some of the area that we could access because a lot of the roads were closed. So it was just more of just sort of an experience. So just walking through there and, if you came away with an image during the day, great. And you did.
Definitely. There was
telephoto
to shoot.
Capture something intimate. Definitely.
Well, that's the thing in these areas, isn't it? There's always something to shoot because you haven't been to them before. You can probably see things that other people don't that go there all the time.
Yeah, defo. got a bit more enthusiasm for seeing something new and
fresh eyes.
We've got Luigi just written. He's just written in the chat. This is Mount Aquila, Eagle Crest. Nice, different view. Yeah, so he knows the names of all the peaks.
Right, so if we go to the other side now.
Yeah.
So diverse, isn't it? This was like completely different.
Yeah,
the Alpine.
It had a completely different feel, didn't it?
Yeah, you still had like the Gran Sasso, the real big snow-capped peaks, but you had all this green area mixed in. And it was such an awesome contrast.
Yeah,
where it was before, it was a bit more barren, a bit more rugged.
Well, we're talking about this is all about the different types of weather patterns I was talking about beforehand. So this is the Gran Sasso Mountain, looking at the north face, so completely the complete other side. Now, if you were to go down to the left, all you do is have it just drops right off to nothing, and then you've got 50 kilometers till you hit the ocean. So this side here has different weather patterns. Obviously, it's a lot greener. And it's still very rugged, but it's a different ruggedness, isn't it? Here, it's more sweeter, more dolce vita Italian sort of landscape, isn't it?
It does feel more Italian, actually. Yeah, I would give you that.
It does. Yeah. It's almost more like Dolomite type of landscape, isn't it? Yeah. Beautiful spot, this area too, and great area to go up with a group of photographers, because you've got those big open areas, and then you can just stick your tripod anywhere. And
you can spread out, can't you?
Spread right out. Yeah, definitely.
And
so, definitely.
It's so hard to get over the scale of this, because the image doesn't really do it justice. But if can I do this right there, up here?
Yeah,
that's a hut, a refuge hut that you can actually stay in.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
It doesn't give you any sort of scale until somebody points something like that out. I mean, that's somewhere where you can actually live in for a couple of days. I mean, so if I zoom back out, I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Mad.
Just ridiculous.
Well, if we get the more adventurous photographers, I'll be keen to take some people up into that hut. You can stay in there. You can eat up there. It's very accommodating. It's hard to access. You've got to have some muscles in your legs, but definitely an area to go up, and great alpine conditions up there for sure. Yeah,
definitely some really interesting points of view from up there, I guess.
So this shot, mate. Oh, sorry, Tom. Go first, mate.
No. So I was just going to say, to the right as well. It offers so many shots to the right, doesn't it?
It does.
A really good night, didn't we, up there as well?
Yeah, it did. We'll come to that next. Actually,
come to that.
It's this sort of area is just it's got a lot going for it, hasn't it? I mean, it's you've got so much to work with both sides. But this shot that you were saying, Matt, you were about to ask. Yeah,
so in this image, long exposure, 30 seconds?
8 minutes.
8 minutes?
8 minutes. I used, I was experimenting. I had a bit of time to kill before the best of the light came. So I just thought, all right, I'll experiment with a 10-stop filter.
You managed to get 8 minutes out of a 10-stop filter. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah. I put a 10-stop on and I got 8-minute exposure, and it came out. It wasn't really, really dark, but it was dark, and it came back to life, no problem though.
Right, okay.
Absolutely no problem at all. And I was hoping that the clouds would streak the way they have. That's the kind of look I was going with. Yeah,
it's just a lot of that light, wispy sort of cloud just coming, because it was coming through quite fast at some points, wasn't it? So over 8 minutes, you managed to get yourself a lot more cloud, because a lot of that top area there was blue sky a lot of the time. So
and it was blowing through. So basically, what I did here is I did an 8 minute exposure, but I also put a CPL on.
Yeah,
and I did that to darken the blues in the sky, because it was a bit too bluebird.
And the CPL gave you a stop and a half too, didn't it?
Yeah.
So you managed to reduce the light even more. Which is,
exactly. And it also managed to control the highlights up in this section as well, because as you can see, the sun's hitting it, so it managed to control that pretty nicely as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this area, as we were just saying, as Tom was saying just then, it's got so much going for it. I mean, you've got that view, and then off to the other side, you had...
Oh, yeah, off to the left as well.
Yeah, off to the left, you had all this happening at sunset. And it was just magical light hitting the hills.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
And greetings from Virginia, USA. Photography by Odell.
How's it
going? All right.
How are you, buddy?
Yeah, so you had lots of this sort of stuff going on as well, and that was off to the left.
Mm.
And then off to the right, not only did you have the mountains, which were catching more of that kind of light, but as the sun started to dip and set, you also got this kind of image as well.
Yeah.
It's just like the photograph.
Yeah, there's just so much, eh? There's just so much to work with.
So much to shoot. Some of these layers that were kicking off here, like after the sun went down as well, like the pastel blues and the pinks. Oh yeah, I haven't managed to get through my ones yet. I took loads of these from different angles and things at the store.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could literally spend an hour and a half after the sun has gone down. Easy.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, we probably almost did, didn't we?
We did. We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Literally milked the last of the light, didn't we?
That's fair play. Didn't they stay open for us, Matt? Didn't they?
Oh, for dinner, yeah, they did.
Yeah, for dinner. Yeah,
it was definitely worth it. God, do you remember that dinner, guys?
That was gold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, first night we had stewed goat. And what else did we have? Oh, we had arrosticini. So arrosticini are like it's they get little tiny pieces of diced sheep and they put them on a meat skewer, and they actually have a special oven which has got these thin oven racks, just like about 50 of them in an oven, and they stick these little skewers in there and they turn them like that. How good are they?
Yeah, good. Absolutely.
Yeah,
beautiful.
A bit of good meat and passing a bottle of wine after you've been out there. And it was cold when we were out there too. So to come back into a warm cabin and have, genuine Italian mountain food like that with a good bottle of wine, and you guys had beer. You actually had a beer that night, didn't you guys?
Yeah, we did.
We did.
Yeah. That's one great thing I love about Italy too, especially when taking people out. It's not just about the photography and the culture experience and all that. It's about, there's the food behind it too. You have to, when you come to these places, you gotta feel Italy for what it is, and it's good to experience.
It's the whole thing, isn't it? It's the whole cooking match. You don't want to kind of just go there with photography in mind. You want to be there to absorb a bit of your surroundings and the culture as well.
And to sit at that table we're at, and there was all those groups of other Italians, all the families that were sitting around us, so they could see, because we still had all our, our photography clothing, let's just say, all our hiking gear on still, and we probably smelt a little bit too. To sit down the table and having dinner and have these people come up and talk to us. And remember that guy? One guy had tears coming in kind of side of his eye. He said he felt so proud and honoured that he had international people coming over to his land to photograph it. He was so moved by it. Do you remember that? That was amazing. He actually had a tear coming out of his eye. Like, just lovely, lovely people in the countryside, just so warm and welcome to have you over. They feel privileged to have people to experience their land the way they do, and it's
refreshing to go to a place like that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
People are that passionate about where they live that they're so pleased that to share it with you, basically.
Yeah. Have you got that photo, Paul? One image I wanted to share.
Yeah.
The one I've got, if we go back to Emperor's Field with a lake, the reflection. Do you have that?
Let me have a look. I'm not sure I do, but I'll have a look.
Just be nice to show people different perspective of that area, what it's like when the roads are open.
No, I haven't got that one.
Okay.
Have not got that one. No, I haven't, unfortunately.
I wonder if I can share it up on screen.
Yeah, you can share as well, I think.
Let me have a look. Yeah, you guys have a quick chat while I try and pull this one out because I really, really want to be able to.
Seeing as we're kind of getting up to an hour, let's have a quick discussion about filters, the filters that we used.
Definitely.
Tom, what did you primarily use?
Well, I primarily use the Wolverine circular filters.
Magnetics.
The magnetics. Yeah, just basically just for the ease of use. To be honest with you, I'm a big fan of the square system as well.
Yeah,
and I've always used the square system as well. And it just wasn't until I got my hands on the circulars I thought, and because where I live now, I don't tend to do a lot of seascapes or water photography. It just made sense for me. Yeah, but I must admit that my main sort of attraction to that sort of system is like what you can use them for video as well. And us being vlogging and sort of moving forward with the vlogging side of things is trying to maintain like that sort of consistent look through my videos. Yeah. I tend to use the variable ND filters that Kase use. Yeah. So I have a 2 to 5 stop, which is a great perfect range, isn't it? For everyday sort of use. And it's got a black mist filter built into it as well, so it sort of gives that sort of.
So what is this black? What is this black filter? This black filter.
It's almost like back. When you put like Vaseline over the lens and you get that sort of
soft look,
soft glow.
Yeah, like a dreamy effect.
It's dreamy. So when the light's coming through the forest, this is my sort of theory beforehand. When that sort of them shafts of light come through, and it just adds a bit more. What's the word? Personality to the video, with the advantage of being able to maintain your shutter speed with this variable ND. So it literally never comes off my lens. The only time I don't use it is first thing sunrise. Obviously, I don't want to slow the shutter down any more than I want because it's too dark. But as soon as that sun gets anywhere near that horizon, it's straight on, and you can shoot all the way through the day. Like obviously.
Yeah. What about you, Matt? What were you primarily using? Because I know you were different because you had a bigger, bulkier lens than us.
Yeah, because I've got the I've got the Pentax 15 to 30 lens, which is the same as the Tamron. So it's got that lens element that's bulging out of the front, so you can't actually screw. It doesn't have a thread on it. So Kase is one of the very few companies that actually have a filter system where the actual holder itself goes over the top of the lens and then clamps onto the actual outside of the lens itself, and then sort of clamps down. You screw it in. So because of that, and being such a wide angle lens, I've got the 150mm filters. Yeah. So I've got a system that's called a K150 magnetic system too, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's good.
So you just got a big it's a 150mm circular polymer that just snaps basically straight onto that holder, and then you can put your 150mm square filters over the top of that. So I used probably on the trip about 55% of the time the CPL. A couple of times I used an ND to slow things down to get a bit of cloud movement, but because we weren't in any locations where we had let's say water reflections or the need to slow down like waterfalls. I think there's one example of where we shot at a waterfall where I used the ND once to slow the waterfall down because the light was very harsh. Yeah. But apart from that, it's very hard to use an ND grad in the conditions we were in because we all know that ND grads are fantastic when you use them correctly, but you need that sort of flat-ish horizon to slide that ND grad over the top, the soft grads. Yeah. Just because these mountains were so prominent and they were basically in the majority of our frames. You put them over the top and you're going to sort of like darken a part of a mountain, or you're better off not using them in that case. I think you're better off taking a double exposure and then blending them later on. Yeah. ND grads are great for for shooting at beaches where you get a nice flat horizon, or very soft, gentle rolling hills, which you could have. I didn't capture any of those scenes when we were there, but some of the shots that you guys took with those sort of the flatter sort of mountains, undulating in the way, and you probably could have got away with using it a lot. And I use my other system too. I've then got a 70 to 210 lens with the magnetic. Those, the small little magnetic kit that Kase have got, where you can just snap the filters straight over the top like that. Yeah. I used that on a few occasions, especially that walk we went on that day. It was quite to cut through a bit of that haze, increase the saturation optically. They're quite useful.
So as Luigi says here, he used mainly the armor kit, and I was really impressed with it because it's the first time I'd really seen it. To be honest,
it's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really, really good the way it worked.
Definitely.
I'll just pop what Luigi's saying up here as well. He enjoyed it because it was so easy to use, basically just clipping the magnetic grad straight over the top.
Yeah.
I do find when I use the circular magnetics, because I do a lot with waterfalls and stuff like that. And it is, believe it or not, really helpful to use a graduated filter sometimes when you're in a woodland and you're wanting to take a close-up detailed shot of a river or stream, because what you often find is the light above you is a lot brighter than the light below.
Yeah.
So when you're want to focus more on what the water's doing, using a graduated filter can kind of control that light that's above you.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a good tip, that.
A way to use it to not get that effect of darkening the upper part of your frame is to actually not necessarily clip it in, is to hold the graduated filter in front of your lens and move it up and down as you take the exposure, and that just helps fade the exposure in a lot better.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
that's the way I use a graduated filter quite a lot anyway. And probably with that armor system, you could probably get away with, because it's magnetic, you could probably actually get away with blending that actually attached. It might not actually do too much damage.
No, definitely not. No.
I just want to touch on bring this comment up here.
Yeah, it's a good comment, that.
Nicholas Davis saying, if you're a beginner and want to get into the magnetic system, where would you start for filters when doing landscape photography?
Does he mean circular or square, or does he mean what specific filters?
I would say specific filters, but I mean, it depends.
Filters.
Yeah, it depends on the system. So if you're going for the magnetic, I would probably concentrate on going for the kit where you get.
Look, when he's referring to magnetic, does he mean magnetic as opposed to other types of holders, or actual magnetic?
Yeah,
I think he means what kits. What, like Paul says, what comes in the kit?
So
range.
So if you're going for like the armor kit, that's a different thing, because you're going to want different grads and what have you. If you're going for the circular kit, it's going to be a case of you're probably going to go for things like a 6-stop, a 10-stop, and a CPL.
Yeah.
But it also depends on what landscape photography you really do, because if you do a lot of things with water, then that would change what you would actually buy. Because for me, if I do a lot of things with water, I'd probably want a 3-stop as well. Because the 3 and a 6-stop I would tend to use more when water's involved.
So the entry level kit do a 3 and a 6, don't they?
Yeah, I think a good system to start it with is definitely CPL. You have to have a CPL.
Yeah.
And most kits, actually all kits come with a CPL stock standard. Start with a CPL and get yourself a standard 3-stop. Okay? Don't worry about experimenting with 10 stops, because 10-stop, majority of the time, is purely experimental, or for night photography when you want to get rid of people in your scene, or not night photography, but evening photography, if you want to remove people that are walking past your camera and things like that, where you can really reduce your shutter speed to like 10 minutes, as Paul did. Yeah. But 3-stops are great. 3-stops are good, and that usually reduces the light enough for you to give you, maybe a third of a second shutter speed or whatever in your water. They're filters you have to have. So if you're going to invest, you're going to start off, get those 2 filters. You have to have them. That's a must. Anything from there, like an ND grad, as Paul said, depends on what you're photographing for sure.
Really does, because if you're photographing wide open scenes, then you're gonna want something slightly different to more intimate work. It just really does depend on what kind of landscape photography you're into.
It does.
But for sure, reach out in the comments and let us know what it is you actually do, and we'll try and advise you a bit more.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, just DM any one of the 3 of us, really. Luigi as well.
Yeah,
help you out. Yeah, seascapes, grads. I think as a beginner photographer, if you live by the sea, grads is just such a good way to.
Yeah, they are.
Get things going. Work out what happens and how does the camera react. How does the exposure? What does that shutter speed mean?
Yeah,
grads is a very visual way to learn. Very hands-on, isn't it?
Well, I think we should try and get to the end, because we're now an hour and 10 minutes in.
Yeah, before we go, I just want to quickly share with people who are, just to go over the areas we're at that we missed out on, guys, just to give people sort of an idea of what's expected in the future for people that might be interested in coming on workshops with us or or whatnot. I'll try this, mate. If I click share screen.
Yeah, and then you have to share.
Share screen. Share screen. Don't show me these tips again. Share screen is on. Google Chrome would like to record the computer screen.
No. Yeah. Have you got 2 monitors running? Because you'll have to open it up on the other monitor probably.
Yeah, I'll open it up on the other monitor. Can you see this, guys?
Nope.
Okay, I've got no idea what I'm doing now. So, look.
No, it's not doing anything.
It's not happening for me, is it, huh?
No, it's not, mate.
StreamYard. Okay. Share. Look, I'll try it one more time, guys, and then that'll do, huh? We're wasting people's time. No, it's telling me I can't do it. Something about Google Chrome. Anyway.
Check out all our social media. Basically, that's the way to do it. Go and check Matt's Instagram page and website as well, because you'll see it all on there. And again, for all of us, Tom's website and Instagram page, you'll see all the images we took.
Definitely. Sorry that Luigi couldn't be with us tonight too. It would have been great to have Luigi on here for a chat, and also Ed too. For people who don't know Ed Rhodes, go and check him out too. It was it's great to have him on the trip with us, and he's a fantastic bloke. I've got Elias said, I learned some things here today. Thanks, Steele. That's great.
No worries, mate.
Hope you didn't get any tips on how not to drink red wine in Italy.
And I just want to pop this up because he's just got back to us and he's saying circular, so he's after circular. So if you do intimate and wide open scenes, I would probably go for, if you're getting the circular kit, get a kit with like a 3 and a 6 and a CPL.
Yeah, which is the entry kit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not expensive. It's like 230 quid. Well, it's 230 quid. And you're pretty much covered, aren't you?
You are covered. And to be honest, you're not going to get better filters than that, to be honest. I mean, I absolutely love the magnetics. They don't take up any space in your bag, which is like a must for me. It was like cutting down weight and bulk in the bag.
Yeah.
So,
and to be fair, if you wanted to as well, I do it quite a lot. If I go out with the missus and stuff, is you can just stack them on the end of your lens. And not, if you don't want to take like a big bulky bag or even a little case, you can just stack them all up, and they're there ready to go anyway. Good system.
And it's important too. What's his name? Nicholas Davis.
Yeah.
So if you haven't invested in a system yet, to remember the reason why we use Kase as opposed to another brand, because there is so many filter brands out there on the market. Varying in prices, varying quality, varying in choice too, because you can have some filter companies who make filter kits for one specific type of lens. the reason why we use Kase is because they do cater for all types of lenses. But most importantly, is obviously optical quality and the optical neutrality. So these filters are neutral. When I mean neutral, I mean they don't have color casting. They don't affect the sharpness of your lens. These are really, really important things to think about, because we have these expensive lenses. We pay a lot of money for lenses. And if you're going to throw a piece of glass over the top of precision optics, you're going to make sure you're investing in it properly. And Kase are very, very neutral, very good optical quality, and they're resistant too. And I mean, I don't know what you're like, mate, Nicholas, but I'm clumsy and I drop stuff, especially when I'm out on field and I'm so blown away what I'm seeing. I've dropped that many lenses. You wouldn't believe I've smashed filters. I think I smashed my first filter kit 20 years ago. And it's expensive, you know, when you drop a filter kit. So when you drop a Kase filter on the ground, there's a high chance that it's going to be able to resist that impact and not get a scratch on it. So they're important things to think about. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, yeah.
Well, guys, thank you all for joining us today. It's been a blast, hasn't it? I really enjoyed it today.
Yeah, it's flown by an hour and 16 minutes.
Certainly has.
Yeah, an hour and 16 minutes is just time flies, eh?
Sorry about the interruption with the phone earlier, everyone who was listening. Unfortunately, that's my life, and that happens.
Thanks very much for joining us, everyone, and we'll
thanks, everyone.
see you again.
Cheers.
Take care.
Thank you.
guys.
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
See ya.